Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. Sorry, I am running late. Oh man, I tell you, once you beyond the hour, you just start getting all like your anxiety for being late. Um, all
How's
right,
work,
so,
man?
so everything's been good. They've been driving me a little crazy, but it's the new role jitters. So I've just been trying to find the process. Trying to get everything in order. Got a late notice last night that my workers' comp insurance for my business is set to cancel due to missed payment. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I paid the whole policy up front for the year. And then come to find out, my insurance broker was like, oh, well, maybe you missed that little part where you just had to pay a separate portion to the carrier directly. I'm pretty sure I usually comb through those documents pretty tight before I sign anything.
That's great.
So, so now I got to go back through that DocuSign because you ain't gonna just confuse me like that. Uh, Matt, you there?
Um, there we go.
All right, perfect. That was a cool
Gentlemen,
still. I almost thought that was you for a minute.
how are you guys doing today?
I am good. I am good. Give me one second. So, everybody, if you don't know, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Matt. Um, Pretty much he has a personal touch when it comes to writing, I guess, what is it called? Letters for consumers?
Yeah, we do like invitation style letters for moving companies to new listing under contract. We do their thank yous, 10-month retargeting campaigns. So we do a lot of that stuff for movers.
Okay, nice. And was it the now is it like that personal hand touch type of feel for the letters?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So we use little robots to kind of handwrite the messaging. We use real pen on paper, real ink for that part of it. We do a lot of the printing in-house, so we print the whole card thing, and then we go ahead and load it up on the machine, and it writes it for us. And we really create just like a really personal touch. And I know that a lot of movers just probably don't have time to write something from the CEO. We also can use their signature and kind of trace it. So it just looks really authentic and very, just different.
And how's that business been taking off?
It's been good. We actually have grown really fast, way faster than I ever did in moving. So I think that that's pretty awesome. But I think it kind of slowed down a little bit in July. Most movers get really busy, so it's like, that outreach is a little difficult. But at the same time, we're happy where we're at. Like I think this business is a big transition to my true self. So I'm a lot happier to be honest. But I still do the moving company. So
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I didn't tell people, So what is it? I haul, I move, moving company?
yep.
All
So we have
right.
I Move is a moving company I started 16 years ago, kind of right out the recession. My brother had a partner and they broke up and my brother said, "Hey, would you like to take this little advertisement in the like a little thrifty nickel?" And I said, "Hey, yeah, let's do it." And I just kind of started from there and started doing moves. And I had to learn the hard way. I didn't have this community that I'm involved in now. Man, I wish I did then, but it's been a good ride. So
Yeah, no, the moving communities are really good as long as you don't, sorry, as long as you don't join those labor groups, I like to think,
yeah.
because you do get a lot of valuable gems out there. There are some ego people, but beyond those ego people, there are some people that really give you that insight to get to that next level.
Oh, absolutely, man. Moving company owners unite. I know there's a few other out there. They're just really helpful to have that. I also was a part of Louis Massaro's mastermind for a little bit, and that was huge for me and some friends. I met like three or four dudes that literally are my best friends now. We talk every day. We talk more than my other friends. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, I heard some stuff, and we on live, so it ain't no filter here. But I
Okay.
heard some stuff about that Moving Owners Unite group charging for membership now.
If you're a marketer, yeah, they will. I do pay to be in that group. So.
Yeah, and it's very similar to I know like when Jay Burnham had the seven figure group that he was charging for. Um And I'm just like, there's no knowledge that I would want that I would pay to be in the community. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so much information from so many different people that would just give it to you for, essentially free. But ultimately, I believe in, one hand wash the other. So if I can offer you some value, ultimately, I would like the value in return. But, I refuse to pay for a Facebook group that's supposed to be free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a part of the group. I find a tremendous value there, both from a mover side and a vendor side as well. Now I am probably one of the fortunate ones. I've learned over the short time that I kind of jumped over to the tech side of the house from the moving side that you can negotiate with these movers and get into places and spaces without necessarily having to pay, but providing value in other areas. And yeah, that's kind of how I rolled into to Moku there. But yeah, it's been tremendously helpful for us as not just as a tech software company, but as an ex-mover as myself, just always trying to be a student of the game and learning a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot of great minds in that group, I would say.
Oh,
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely a good time, but yeah.
I would agree with you, Ryan. I think yeah, it's an amazing group to kind of be a part of and have this outreach. So yeah, I think you're dead on there.
It keeps me in the loop of, at least on the software side, like what's working, what's not working, who has what, who doesn't have what they have. Is it's just it's been an eye opener in a lot of spaces, I would say. But I made a lot of great friends through there as well too. Just normal people that kind of like you said, Matt. People that start off a little chat. I slap a comment on someone's issue or problem or a pinprick, and then next thing you know, it's like, hey, here comes the DM, and next thing you know, we're on calls for 2 3 weeks straight. Half hour a week, 45 minutes a week, and it's turning some really good friendships.
You
All
know,
day.
I ain't gonna lie, I got Hooters for the group. And I'm a good guy, I like to think.
What you can do too, Dwight, you can probably enter, just get rid of the training and just go in as Dwight Mack under Max Moving. You'll get
Oh,
accepted.
no, no. I got kicked out by the group admin.
Ooh, well, never mind then. You got a target on.
Yeah, we ain't gonna say names. I'm trying to be as discreet as possible here. But no, it was funny because this was the time when I started my own group, and I was going through the training, offering value to the people in my group or whatever the case is, and the said person said, "Oh, well, you're giving all your knowledge or industry knowledge to unlicensed movers."
Mm.
Oh, okay. I'm giving it to people that reached out to me and want information. Yes. Am I screening everybody and looking up their USDOT number to see if it's active? No. Don't make no sense. So they didn't like the energy, and they were like, "Oh, well, you can't be in our group getting this gems that and knowledge of legitimate movers and giving it to unlicensed movers. So we're gonna have to move you from the community." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so
like everything, there's going to be some bias on where things go and things like that. I get it. I understand it. I'm coming out swinging as probably to a lot of people new in the community. I don't know about Ryan. Obviously, Ryan's probably more established in the community than I am. So it's hard to kind of break through that noise. Between me and you, high school never ends, but obviously it's just something
oh
we have to
yeah.
break through, you know what I mean? And I think Dwight, you're a likable dude. You got a great platform, man. So just keep pushing where you're going. People will follow you that believe in what you're doing, and I think that's awesome. So
And the crazy part is, I think one of the things I did mention was, do you think people like, and I'll say their name, hey, you think people like Titans Up or Lou Cesaro are people that are looking at DOT numbers?
sorry,
Or,
I think your mic's breaking up a little bit there.
oh no, I said, do you think people that are offering, different levels of training, different levels of service, like yourself, Greg from USA Homeless, and yourself, Tighten Up Moving Training, Louis Mazzaro, do you think all these vendors and these people are looking at DOT numbers, or are they just providing a great service?
Well, yeah, we hope that they're just providing a great service, right? That's it's hard to say, right?
Yeah,
You know,
That's a tough one. I mean, I know at least from us, from our perspective, for the company I work for, we do look for that stuff. We do not sign up unlicensed movers. We don't sign up anybody that has a, terrible track record or, you know, 75, 1-star reviews. Like we shy away from that. And if you are not a legit, but in those communities, honestly, I don't think that they go and look for that stuff. They just want to provide a level of service, and maybe, hopefully, with the the training and things that these guys do, maybe it will get some of these guys legal or something like that. I don't know, but
That's the
yeah,
goal.
too
You
close
know,
to call.
I
But
think that is the goal. Like the people that like I've dealt with clients or potential clients that weren't yet established, and I'm like, well, hey, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even want to work with people that don't actually have a moving company going. They're like, oh well, I was thinking about starting a moving company, and unfortunately, I'm not. That's not where I'm at. Because I don't want to go through your doubts. Oh, maybe I should do this. Or maybe I should do this. I want somebody that kind of has a roadmap, but need a little more clear guidance on that path that they already have in place, and I can kind of help you get to the next level. And I feel like that's where I best shine than starting from like zero.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm with Ryan, man. You gotta have like licensed movers. It's difficult. I think, you have the unlicensed movers and we want to start with them because I was there at one time, right? And I didn't have the guidance. So I think it's really good that you're doing that, Dwight. And like you got to kind of help them do that, pick those stepping stones. I kind of early on almost got, a fine from the Colorado Public Utilities Commission for $10,000, got slapped with a fine. And they said, hey, if you operate again. And honestly, it forced me to take that step. And I'm so thankful I did. I just imagine like if I was still operating, doing cash jobs, where would I be now today? Like that forced moment created me to be a better person. So I think it's good that you're helping the community, letting them know the stepping stones, and they should absolutely take that chance on themselves. Like, why would you want to operate as a fly-by-night guy? I don't see it being a very long-term successful thing. So
Yeah, it's not lucrative in any way, shape, or form, anyways.
no.
Um,
that's
you
where I'm
know,
blown. The amount of focus from some of these moving companies, or a lot of these moving companies I speak with on a daily basis, they're like, I'm going after the rogue movers, and it's like, get your own operations tight. You're so worried about the guy charging $100 an hour. You're dropping your price. You're doing it. Like, focus on you and your organization. These guys are going to run themselves out, get fined to the point where they just get. Now, again, are they going to show back up on the radar at some point? Sure. But how many times are these guys going to get fined, switch company names, and jump back into the game? I mean, my whole thing was we had road movers back when I was in seat for those 13 years. And yeah, they were right in town. And my whole thing was education awareness to the customer. Your company's got to do a better job of spotting that out and pushing that to your potential customers to let them know what's out there. But my focus was never on the rogue movers or trying to compete with those guys. It was, hey, keep doing what we're doing, keep providing that exceptional level of service, and have a nice fair price at capacity-based piece. And we just snuffed all those guys out. We stayed true to ourselves, and those guys eventually, like I said, they snuffed themselves out pretty quickly.
yeah, I want to know what type of questions that they're asking those guys, movers, or like my whole thing was if you do a business, like the business plan tells you to choose up to 3 competitors in your area or that you're here. So if you're choosing 3 people that you're here with, whether it's the company that's down the road that has 15 trucks, or the company that has 2 trucks that's on the other side of the road, whatever the case is, if those are your competitors or whatever the case is, then anybody else, like what research are you doing to realize, oh, well, those guys, those guys are illegitimate. So let me call DOT on them or whatever the case is. That was like a lot of wasted energy versus focusing on your immediate competition and figuring out what are they doing that could probably be taken.
Hey, Dwight, I think your microphone, you might have to swoop it back up there. I don't know if it's not loud enough, but Ryan, did you understand that?
I got a little bit of it. So it's about like obviously knowing good business plan, knowing your competition, which I knew that is one thing I exceeded really, really well in. I could tell you without naming names, but the 3 companies that were in our backyard, I knew all their sales reps. I knew how they dressed. I knew how they talked. I knew how they presented. I knew how they looked at jobs. They always looked, if I saw a job for 10,000 pounds, they were coming in 8,500 pounds. Like I knew there was always a 1,500 pound delta from what they quoted. It always ended up being more. I just knew I knew their whole playbook, or lack thereof, sort of say. And even the road guys, I knew the road guys' playbooks. I knew how they operated. So again, it all ties back into, that first call with the customer, that presentation while I'm doing the in-home or virtual survey is tying that all in and, continuing to build value. And yeah, I just said basically full foot on the gas at all times in that direction. But
Yeah, just
yeah,
know.
quite a bit. So I didn't hear the rest of what you said. So I'm not sure if I answered or even responded correctly.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I was just. Can you hear me better now?
It's a little bit better, yeah.
No, I was just saying that, like I said, just know your needs today. Know what you need to charge, and just do your thing. Lewis McGarr was almost like have tunnel vision on whatever you do, so that you focus on you. Because at the end of the day, you lower your rates because the competition does no one any good.
Yeah, I think before you get to know your competition, you better learn your numbers first. You better make sure that you're operating correctly, make sure that you're charging the appropriate rate so your company actually is profitable and you're making the margins that you should be. Again, tying back into, I feel there's a lot of companies, and we just started this 15-minute sales audit process, which really they're about 30-minute calls. And it's been mind blowing for me. I mean, it was one thing to come from my world and know how we operated. And we operated really tight. We were lean. We were efficient. We were very profitable. And now I'm speaking with hundreds and hundreds of business owners and kind of, they're opening up the shell a little bit to kind of show me some of the behind the scenes of how they're doing, what they're doing, and how they're pricing. And it's been mind blowing, guys. Like I literally, and I got to be careful how I say this because this was the call I was on yesterday. How this particular company prices their moves is based on the sale price of the home that they're moving. So if Dwight's in a $2 million house, instead of a $3,500, $4,000 move, these guys are shooting for the fence at 12 to 15K because, they have money. It's a really expensive house. They're not getting any of those jobs. Now, if you're coming out of a single wide trailer, they're dropping their rates to like $130 an hour for two people in a truck. And that's all they're filling their schedule with. And they're like, we don't understand why we can't get the big ticket jobs, and we don't understand why we're not profitable. And so they have a backwards capacity-based type pricing. It's if you have money, we're charging through the nose. If you don't have money, we're basically giving you a free move. And I'm just like, what kind of model? And these guys are a $4 million company. That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
These guys are they're a really good company. They just have some things that they do that I just can't wrap my head around at this point. It might have worked at one time, but whoa.
That's actually not a bad model in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is just because, hey, some people that can't really afford the service, and I get it, we're not able to be free, but we can't afford the service, and it's like, okay, well, hey, I provided that. And then the people that have the money, and it goes back to that tax bracket. How once you get to a certain tax bracket, you get taxed a whole lot more than if you were in a lower tax bracket. So
I look at
it
this. I got my sub shop on the side. I just look at it as if I had a doctor attorney come in, and instead of our sub being 13, 14 bucks, I'm like, oh, this thing's 50 bucks for you, doc. And then the guy that comes in the street on like a motorized scooter, I'm like, I'm gonna give this sub to you at cost for $3. Like, do you think that doctor is gonna come back? No, but I'm gonna have everybody in town on a scooter and a cane that can't afford anything. And I'm just basically giving out all my inventory. So I'm basically filling my capacity with work at cost. Like, I just don't understand like how that model can sustain itself. Like, to me, it's just not fair, right? It doesn't matter if you're a multimillionaire or you live in a $250,000 house. If you're looking for a particular service, I'm going to service the $1 million house just like I'm going to service the $250,000 house. At the end of the day, it's still chairs, it's still books, it's still dishes. They might be more expensive chairs. They might be more expensive crystal, but at the end of the day, it's that customers, it's their lives that we're moving. So regardless if they've got, 500K worth of content in the house or 10K worth of content in the house, I'm going to protect it and take care of it just like I would anybody else. So again, that was just my, for my world, I would say.
No, you're fine. I think one of the guys that I spoke to, one of the bigger, they were telling me their formula for storage and how they charge for storage. They kind of like charged a premium price up to like the 70% capacity marker because they know that they would never get that other 30% completeness. Like you would never be 100% full. So they charge like the premium up to 70%, and then I think they start to lower their rates once they get up to that 70% to try to continue to get that capacity for the other 30 if they can get it. So I think I'm kind of relating that back to what this whole conversation was, where it's like, well, hey, you know what, charge a premium for this situation and then charge lower for this situation. And
Yeah.
it ties into everything.
Yeah, I get the storage wise. Yeah, you get up to 70%. I mean, storage, like you only have X amount of room in your storage facility, right? So when you get to that almost max capacity, like to me, yeah, I like that model. You should have an increased storage type price. If you've only got 30% of your storage left and you're crushing it with storage, and I would start gradually raising, as you start losing customers, yeah, you could potentially lower that rate a little bit. But I like that model. Just I'm still struggling with, hey, you're a millionaire, so you're gonna pay 4x. You're gonna get it for free.
Well, so Ryan, let me ask you this. Like, I think the thing is that you have, I don't know, like, let me ask you this. Like, so if you're a realtor and you're going to charge 3% for a house, if you're going to charge 3%, whether it's a $250,000 house or it's freaking $2 million house, right? You get, and sometimes people will kind of wiggle that around. Us as movers, I think what that company's going for is maybe a little bit of that salt of, man, realtors are going to go drive a fancy car. They're going to fill out some paperwork, right? They're going to get 3% of the sell price. And we're out here fighting for maybe 0.5%. And now we're moving all their household inside possessions, the things that probably really mean a lot to them, right? And I just think maybe that's where that comes from. What do you think?
You don't even want to get me going with the real estate. Well, a lot of my friends are real estate agents. I think the whole thing, and again, I'm from New York, not New
Yeah.
York City, but upstate New York, and the real estate process around here is broken. It's actually getting blown up right now. They just passed a couple laws and things where instead of this whole commission based, and this is what drives pricing, right? And at least in our area, it's like if a house is listed at 400, like that's like the starting point now. Now it's like you're in the bidding wars. Next year the house is going for 5.25, 550. Real
Hmm.
estate agents are making more, people are paying more out of pocket. I think at least in upstate New York, the whole real estate process is extremely broken. I mean, you got to look at the last time I went and was looking for shopping homes, and my parents are going through this now. They showed up. We just showed up to this house last week, and the real estate agent was like, my parents were asking questions, and the real estate agent's like, I don't know, go look around. Like, what type of this, what type of that. They don't even have a clue what they're selling. They're opening the door, the consumer is walking through, and then the whole time you got the real estate agent going, well, you better hurry. There's already two offers. You better offer over ask. You better do this. You better, and it's like, no, 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 no. I'm going to look at a $400,000 house, and I've got 10 minutes to make a decision as to if I want to go ahead and write a check for this thing. No, I think real for what real estate, and I'm probably going to take so much flack on it. Actually, I'm probably not. I've said this, but yeah, if we're live and whatnot, but I just feel like some of the work that goes into that, at least from what I've seen from my perspective, to open a door, have somebody come in, the level of service that is provided, the lack of questions that get answered, to me is just it's not doing the industry any justice. But they're going to try to switch things over to a different model where it's like, you know what, now if I want to buy a home or hire a real estate agent, it's more kind of an interview process, and I'm paying that real estate person something upfront flat to work for me. So they actually almost have to really work to get a deal done rather than just open up a bunch of doors. But I get the whole thing with, hey, this house is $1 million, 3%. This house is 250, 3%. I get that. But yeah, I'm the wrong person to talk to about real estate when it comes to that, man.
Yeah, well, no, and I I can see your side of things, and I think it creates a little bit of salt because I try to tell my clients when I sell too is that like, hey, you're going to pay 3% to your realtor. We're lucky to get 0.5%. So when people say movers are expensive, I actually think we're one of the most undervalued service industries out there, and I think we continue to race to the bottom with who could be the cheapest as inflation continues to rise. It's almost like that's why we're seeing so many movers kind of exiting out is because I think we're kind of forcing ourselves out of that. And I think we're just undervalued service. And I'm not sitting here trying to make a price fixing scheme. I just think that we could all uplift each other a little bit more, create more value for our clients, and use software like yours at Supermove and have just a great, set of processes that possibly could kind of mimic that and people would maybe see value in it. But it is hard with manual labor to, this isn't college educated folks that work for us. But there is a lot of training that goes into this. And I can tell you, I've done this for 16 years. I'll die never knowing everything about moving. I'm okay with that because as soon as you think you know everything, you know nothing, is my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild out there. So I'm with you with the real estate stuff. So.
But I want to push this question back on you, Matt, there. Like
Yeah.
if a $10 million moving company, right? Actually,
Yep.
we'll reverse this. If Dwight's a $10 million moving company a year, I'm a $1 million moving company a year. Dwight wants 500 moving letters to go out, and I want 500 moving letters to go out. Are you going to charge Dwight 2x, 3x versus me? Or is it going to be the same price based on the amount of letters that are going out?
We charge the same price, so everyone gets the same price. I've thought about that though. I got customers in, I've thought about this. I got customers in San Francisco where everything's a little bit more expensive. It's like maybe should they be paying this? And then I have customers out in Alabama. It's like, or where cost of living's much less. Should they pay that same price? So I don't know. I've thought about that because that would make us more attractive out there. Have you thought about that at Supermove on your guys' pricing strategy to kind of for bigger markets that maybe there is a little bit more of a cost associated versus some of the little smaller communities where movers just don't have as much opportunity?
Well, I mean, in reality, that's kind of how we are set up, but just it's not based on how much revenue you do. It's based on how many active trucks that you have.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're a company that's only running 2 trucks, you're only going to pay for 2 licenses. We're not going to, and if you're only running 2 trucks doing $10 million, which I think is just, you just can't do that. If somebody knows how to run 2 trucks and make 10 mil, like, please let me know if anybody out there is doing that currently.
That'd be great.
That'd be amazing. But no, I mean, obviously, if you have 30 active trucks, yeah, you're gonna pay a heck of a lot more money than the 1 truck or 2 trucker, for sure. But for us to say, hey, you have 2 trucks and you're doing 2 million, we're gonna charge you X. But you have 2 trucks and you're doing 1 million, we're gonna lessen the bar for that. No, it's you have 2 trucks, you need 2 tablets, you need 2 licenses, and we don't care how many users that there are.
Yeah, I could see why that makes a lot of sense.
You got some people out there inflating their numbers, talking about, they got 3 trucks doing $4 million a year.
Every day I talk to somebody and I'm just like, hey, so you X amount of trucks, you're probably doing X amount, in revenue per year. And you can always tell they're like, why would you say that? We're doing 8 mil. And I'm like, that's incredible. Like, you don't need me for an audit process. You're doing 8 mil with 2 trucks. Like, I need to ask you questions at this point. I need to find out how you're doing that because I'm going to buy 2 trucks tomorrow. But that's just, again, it's not like that everywhere. But obviously, as there's some ego in this industry, but at the same time, I think there's more amazing people than there are the egos in the industry. So it's just nice that when you can surround yourself with people that are going to basically open up the chest, be super transparent, and kind of tell it like it is. Those are the ones that I try to surround myself with, rather than the ones that say, I've got 2 trucks and I do 10 mil.
Yeah, so I was gonna say similar to what Matt was saying about people competing for the bottom. I know New York is very big on price collusion and stuff like that, and that's why they didn't really want you talking about prices with competitors and stuff like that. But I always felt like, hey, charge what you need to charge. Look at your numbers, charge your rate. If the housing market is going up and everything around you is getting expensive to fix your trucks, to do this, to do that. You got to pay your guys a minimum of $20 just to go out and work for the day. There's no reason why you're going down. You need to going up. So, charge what you need to charge. And, at the end of the day, the right customers will buy. Because if you're aiming for the bottom, you're aiming for the cheap customers that's going to complain about damages anyways. The higher you go up, in my opinion, the less likely that people are going to care about that little thing and care more about the bigger.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Dwight. I think you're kind of right, spot on. I think as a mover, as we tend to slow down, we do kind of that adjustable pricing, right? And there's times where it's like, hey, we need to fill that last spot on the calendar. It's the day before the move. Hey, I know that let's just do whatever, $150 an hour, and it might be $30, $40 less an hour. And it seems every time we do this, we end up having some form of a problem with that client. So I think you're absolutely right. I mean, this happened a lot when I was on Craigslist when I first started, right? As a Craigslist mover, I was at one point. I'm not going to deny that. And but then once I switched over to some of those better lead sources, repeats, referrals, people could see that value. And yeah, it's a lot less likely to happen. But as the economy tightens up like this, I think we start to see, at least this year for me and maybe a little bit last year, probably more claims process happening and more kind of what was the issue on the move, as where 2022, 2021 people were just like happy to get a mover. You know what I mean? So it's been a
Mhm.
weird shift.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
love back to 2021 and 2022. Holy cow. It was like I felt like I was an order taker. It didn't
Yeah.
matter what price I put out there. If I had the date available, they were like, just sign me up. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, sense has changed. We got to be a little bit more hunter gatherer mentality, I'd say at this point. But
Yeah.
I think we all got so accustomed to having so many leads to the point where we didn't have to tackle each lead and really sink our claws in, because it was like, hey, if Dwight's not moving with me, guess what? Matt's gonna. And if Matt's not gonna, Ryan's gonna. We're gonna fill the schedule. Where it's not so much the case anymore. So I keep hearing movers like, we need more leads, more leads, and it's like you're getting 20 to 30 a day. You're only closing one or two of those. Let's get a little bit tighter on the process there up front and start grappling with those leads a little bit more. Take the time, because it's not like it was a couple years ago. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think within my first few years, I was averaging, once I got on board and really got my lead, I was averaging about maybe like almost 30,000 leads a year from all different sources. And so when people were like, "Oh, I need more leads, I need more leads," I'm just like, "What do you mean? Like, what are you doing?" And then some of them say, "Oh, well, I've only been using Facebook and Google Ads," and I'm like, "Well, that's the problem right there. Like, you're limiting yourself so drastically." And I get the postcards for me was always the biggest thing. It's like I gotta send out how many postcards to try to get how many customers to call me? Hopefully, 'cause I can't call them.
no,
You
I wish Matt was around when I was in seat, because I literally used to do. I don't know all what you do, Matt. I definitely like to have a chat with you offline
Yeah, let's
here
do it.
in the future. But what I literally did to start, because I'm just like, man, how do I generate some business in the wintertime or what have you? And I was friends with real estate agents. So they would always ship me over all the newest listings. And I literally, anything from 150 to X. So I had a little cap depending on which area, Ithaca, Corning, Binghamton, Syracuse, what have you. And I would literally print labels. And I had these really funky postcards that I had made up that were in the shape of a house on this like pearly white paper.
That's
And just
awesome.
free obligation estimate, blah, 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 what have you. And we just ship these out to homes, and it cost us like, I don't know, probably 80 cents between the postcard and the stamping. We just got to the point,
Nice.
like, man, I was just copying and pasting an address into like an Excel piece, hit and print, and then just sticking them on, putting on my postage and the way they went. And I'm telling you, as crazy as it sounds, it works so damn well. Especially that funky shape. It wasn't just like, everybody gets a sheet of paper in the mail. This was like a mini house, and everyone it stood out in your mail to the point where it was like, but we got about 10%, 10%, oh my gosh, response rate from doing that, which I thought was insane.
It
Yeah.
could
But
be.
I like
It
the
depends.
handwritten piece. I didn't handwrite anything. It was just a really cool. I have one here somewhere. I'll have to bring on next episode, but it's buried in my old Nagely box somewhere. But it's just a really cool, and it worked, but it was so damn time consuming.
Was that a
So
6x11 house?
what's that?
Was it a 6x11 house?
No, it was like, I don't even know how, it was like half a sheet of paper, right? Half a sheet of paper in width, and then it just had like a little peak, and then it had like a little chimney. So it was
Okay.
really thick paper, and it was really cool. There was like two people on it holding like a 3.0 carton, and it actually had like a house like sideways inside the box. Like it was cool. I don't know, but it worked,
Yeah,
and
that's
I kept
awesome.
back to
So
that today. They're like, oh, you're in this big tech space where everything's digital, but you still did. I'm like, it works. It's just that level of something shows up in the mailbox. I don't get a lot of things in the mail. It's all junk mail. So if something does come in the mail that's like a funky shape or crazy color, like it captures my attention. And guess what? I'm ordering food from Pasquale's because they sent me a thing that's the shape of a pizza, instead of
yeah,
just a standard what have you. Like that creativity to me is like it captured my attention, and I ordered a pizza from getting that. Paid too
yep.
much for it, but it was good.
I
Yeah.
think you're spot on with that, Ryan. Like why that worked so well is because you did something different. I think the industry got really stagnant there for a while with everyone doing a 6x11 or a 6x9 postcard. They're all very similar. They all have the same couponing.
Yep.
What happened to me is I actually went on an estimate and I was doing postcards with for a while there with Greg at USA. I do them in house, get the data from him. And I went to a house to estimate it, and I see another postcard there, and I see the same family from my postcard. It's like a stock image, and so I try to tell people don't use stock images as much as you can avoid it. And I actually was like, "What the heck?" And she's like, "I thought you guys were the same company." I said, "No, we're not." And I was just absolutely offended. And that was that moment where it told me that like there has to be something different out there. We all can't be sending the same size and expect to just, like some of the customers have told me it's like roulette when picking a mover. I got 14 of these. Oh, I'm just going to choose this one. It's like, there's got to be something different that stands out. And so we actually think of multiple touch points. I still think postcards are great. Movers can do them. They're less expensive. Absolutely. But when you want to take that next level for especially high-end homes, you touch them with this too, right? And why not something else, right? It's really called pattern interrupt is what we're trying to do. And that's exactly what you did, Ryan, is a pattern interrupt. They're used to getting a square piece in the mail and they got a house. Like how cool is that? So I think that was awesome, man. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
think,
that this is the cool. I don't even know. Like, I just got this the other day, and it's pretty cool, right? So obviously, this is the thing that like this company's been trying to get a hold of me for a while, and I reach out to everybody, right? Like, if anybody reaches out to me, LinkedIn, inbox, whatever, I give
yeah.
everybody the time of day. I don't ghost anybody or not speak, but these guys were like this weird packaging company, but not a part of the industry. Had no clue, and I'm just like I asked them a few times, like, what the heck are you like? What do you guys see in me? What can I possibly do for you? It's not like you're making boxes or anything for the industry. But we had a conversation. They knew I like golf, so they sent me this big old box, like packaging with you in mind, and then on the inside is cool. It had a sleeve of Pro V golf balls. Take a swing with X company, you won't miss. And I'm just like, how cool, like the hair stands up. I'm like, how cool is that? So I'm actually, obviously, golf in the moving industry is huge. So I'm like, how can I replicate this a little bit? Send it out to some of our people. But, I've had everything from cereal boxes. Basis, by the way, these guys are awesome when it comes to payments. Just really cool, cool company. But just like I get these things all the time. I'm like, this is so like this is the stuff that captures me. And we've done the whole pizza trick where, I'm having a hard time getting a hold of somebody and you order a pizza and you take a slice out of the box and you deliver it. And just basically you're the missing piece of the pie. Please give me a call and these people call back. We just sent out a round of cookies to people that we couldn't get a hold of, just like with a funny little saying. And now all of a sudden, guess what? These companies that we haven't been able to get a hold of or didn't want to give us the time of day or we got stuck at the gatekeeper are now like, oh my gosh, man, the cookies and what you put on those cookies was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Now, we might not get a deal out of it, but it opened up that line of communication because we're just trying to do things different than, sending emails and texts and, having BDRs call everybody all day long. It's just, there's a different way to do things now. And
yeah,
doesn't cost that much.
I think in one of the Facebook groups, there was somebody that had like a really, really bright either pink truck or um someone that says, I think it was owned by a woman, like a woman business moving owner, and something like, oh well, they had some slogan that was like just derogatory to the male, but it was like their slogan, and it was almost like, well, hey, if they get the attention, people start talking about it. In a way, they felt like, well, that's good publicity. But hey, people are talking about us. Whether they talk negative or not, it's something that they'll remember. And I think that's kind of like in a sense where I feel like you're coming from, where you're like, well, hey, you know what? If we could just do something that's different out of the box.
Hey, is it more personalization? I feel like is the key. If I'm trying to get a hold of somebody and they're not reaching back out to me, I research a snot, find out what they love, what they hate, what this, and then send them something that when they get that, like they can't not. They can't not respond back because they're like, this is just so cool. Like this guy took the time. And there was our company, Supermove, we got tagged in a post from a moving company in California, or not California, I'm sorry, Hawaii, where the guy's CEO of a really, really large company. His phone died, right? His phone died. He was out on vacation, doing whatever the case was. So he actually took a picture of himself at a phone booth. This was on LinkedIn. Y'all, if you saw it, you might know. And you're like, hey, good thing you got the old phone booth. Well, I went on immediately because it's somebody that we do want to partner with and we want to, have a relationship with. I went on there and got him a customized Supermove phone power bank and sent it to him. And I said, hey, so and so, you never have to worry about your cell phone dying at this point. Who do you think called 4 days later after they got that? The CEO. So just that little piece there, like nobody else, he tagged every CRM company that was out there in today's market in that post. And as far as I'm aware, we're the only ones that actually reacted, sent him a really cool phone bank. And now we're resuming communication, which is pretty cool. But just like the little things like that, it's like, hey, we're aware, we see where you're at, we see what you're doing, we see how you're doing it, and we want to be a part of it. But I'm just having a lot of fun doing that type of stuff.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
little bit,
that's awesome.
you
I
got to
think
get creative.
I think you're spot on. Like I always try to tell a lot of movers right now that the big theme coming out of, the order taker kind of thing that we were into, like you had mentioned, is relationships, right? Like how can we go out, cultivate good relationships, getting to do that. And I think that's going to be the separation between us and everybody else, is that the old ways aren't going to work. Like we can't just put up Facebook ads, we can't just put up Google guaranteed ads and expect to everything to fall in our laps magically. It just doesn't work like that. So we have to do things different than everybody else. And a house looking postcard might be definitely the way to be different. And so, doing that phone bank too, I think that's amazing that your company's like out there looking out for people and thinking about different ways to approach it, as opposed to, like you said, just emails, text messages, or just cold calls. Hey, was your owner around? Right? It just doesn't probably work anymore.
No, it's that type of stuff to me. I want to say it's dead because it still works. Don't get me wrong, but you got to make a lot of phone calls to get that one guy on the phone that's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I was just thinking about doing this. Yeah, let's take a demo. Like you got to be more tactful, I would say, because everybody's doing the calls, the emails, the basic flyers or whatever you want to call it. You got to stand out, especially today's world.
Yep.
So
So
what do you, I guess, from your standpoint, what do you guys like? Because we're, well, besides Matt, um, so obviously we have to outreach from your strategic partnership, Ryan and Matt. I know you have to outreach as well from the Moving Letters AI standpoint. Like, what are you thinking is the good B2B house channels now, outreach channels?
my number one is social media. I started to come active into that community, adding friends, adding people, and just telling my story. This is why I do what I do. Also, I think videos, short videos of kind of your product or about you personally, I think that's gonna, and then obviously lifting up the community. I think there's so much hate out there and so
Mm.
much like this and that. It's like, there's so many other, CRMs, like they're all good in probably some ways. And there's also a lot of other mailing companies. They're all good in some ways, and one might not be for the other person, right? It's kind of like that Android versus iPhone kind of thing. It's like, hey, there's those diehard Android people, there's diehard Apple people. Maybe we speak to a certain mover that's thinking of things differently. And so, yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of just social media. I've just done a lot of it organically, just posting stuff about our product and nothing over the top. And I think it's really helped us.
Yeah, I know that. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I agree with Matt 100%. I mean, our thing is, we only hit a few channels of social, but everything that we're pumping out is basically education awareness. I think if you can continue to pump value into the industry, it's just at some point, even if they don't like us right now and they like and really love a different CRM or whatever the case may be, um, by continuing to pump the education awareness and keeping things really, really fresh, it just kind of naturally attracts people over because it's like, hey, they might love where they're at currently, but they're not getting additional value. Where it's like we find a lot of our folks that hop on webinars, and even the last showcase that we held yesterday, we had more prospects on our showcase than we had customers. And this was more or less kind of updates of what's new, what's hot, what's retro, what are we working on, what's the roadmap look like. And obviously, would I love to see more customers there? Absolutely, because that's really what it's designed for. But we're finding with more prospects. And it's just crazy. I'll be talking to somebody who's with ABC CRM system, and they just like, dude, we love what you're doing. We love you guys with it. And it's just like, holy cow. It's just like a pretty cool feeling to have like your competitors coming to you for that education and awareness aspect rather than going to their own kind of home source. But another thing that we try to do, and it works really, really well, is around holidays and like Valentine's Day, we did this really cool thing where, it's one thing to hit up social media and what have you, but we had all our BDRs and SDRs, depending on their location that they were, kind of did like this really hyper local in-person thing. So, I mean, imagine we had this little piece. I don't know what size it was, like a half piece of paper, but it was like, it was Valentine's Day and we had break up with your spreadsheets. So we knew all the companies that were on pen and paper, leveraging spreadsheets and things like that. So we just had our BDRs run around and drop off like, you know, a box of candy hearts along with that break up with your spreadsheets piece. And I will tell you, by doing that, we locked up, I won't say locked up, that's a terrible word to say, but we signed up one of the largest moving companies in Canada for our service. And we've tried reaching out to this person for a long, long, long time. I mean, they're a main player in Canada, and I'm sure you all know who that is. But we literally went in there with the break up with your spreadsheets piece, and the guy just thought it was the coolest thing. He's like, no one's ever done like this. You actually took the time to do this, to come and see me. And he ended up having an hour and a half long conversation with our BDR, and it was a week later he was signed up. So keeping things fresh, keeping things fun, light, and kind of airy, and not necessarily pushing your organization, but kind of pushing a little bit of that education awareness, but having some fun with it, has really kind of supercharged our team. And it's fun. It takes out that monotonous making 100 calls a day and sending 40 emails. It's like, get out and see these folks. And, you know, we had the opportunity, was it 2 weeks ago? We were down in Texas. Almost our entire organization visited one of our customers. And obviously, I know what it's like to work in a moving company. I know what these guys leverage with our system, but to have engineers and BDRs and sales reps and, you know, people in different, you know, pods that we have kind of back on the backside to have these guys go into a moving company and literally spend time with each department and go through the day to day, see one, A, how is our software, you know, how is our service truly propelling this business, but also what can we do better now that we're in seat with these guys? We see where their pain points are, because it's one thing to build something and say, oh, this should work. But until you actually get to that company and see how they operate and see what they go through on a daily basis, it was a big wake up call for a lot of people in our organization. And we plan on doing a lot more of those customer on-sites, as we'll call, because it was a huge educational piece for our team.
Yeah,
I could see that, man. That's awesome.
definitely. So I would say, whew, we are definitely over the time today, but that is no problem. So what I wanted to do is just to tighten the rest of this episode up is have Matt just talk about your business, talk about, you know, what your goals and vision is for your business, and yeah, just let the audience know about Moving Letters AI.
Yeah, so with Moving Letters AI, we really wanted to challenge the status quo, and we were talking about it already with, you know, Ryan's house postcard. We wanted to do things differently, and when I had the opportunity to do this, some of my friends challenged me because kind of where I was at that time, would, you know, obviously I kind of went from just a monotonous lifestyle to now having good friends in the industry that would support me and push me along the way, and said, hey, Matt, why don't you do this? You know, you're the one in our group who's always digging in deeper with the technology. You're kind of in that association. So I went ahead and challenged myself to do, I wanted to do a different business. What it was for movers, I had no idea, but I always wanted to try to do something else. And so that's why I pushed into making these letters happen. I was deep into direct mail for a long time, you know, with Greg's help at USA Home Listings with, you know, getting the list from them and cultivating that. And I said, hey, let's go do something different for folks that want to get a little bit more out of it. And it's worked out really well. And I'm so excited about where we're going. We might have some other products coming out down the line, which would be kind of maybe a house postcard. No, I'm kidding, Ryan. I won't steal that from you, but it is a good idea.
I'm out of the industry now, so I take it and roll.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure somebody's doing it. I wasn't the only one that came up with that. That's for sure.
no, of course, and nothing's truly original in that regard, right? I think that's people will buy into our product because they believe in what we're doing and we believe in that impression. I kind of put it to, yes, our product is a little bit more expensive than a traditional postcard. Of course, it's handwritten, it has to be. But it's like buying a billboard, right? What is that impression worth when people drive by in their cars going 55 miles per hour? Or, you know, you get something like this, and the first thing you're probably going to do is open it up and probably Google that company, make sure that they're highly rated, and then give them a call. Google's going to take some of our credit sometimes, even though we put tracking phone numbers out there, and we're okay with that. But people have to really believe in what that impression is worth. If it takes 7 touch points for someone to buy, this is a major touch point that was handwritten, or at least conceived to be handwritten from the owner. And we never want to kind of lie for our owners and be like, yeah, I really handwrote that. I mean, it is postmarked from Denver. There's nothing I can avoid from that part of it. But maybe they could say, hey, the meaning behind it, I made the message. That is actually my signature. It's just that I have a company help automating that just because I don't have the time. I think we got to start off by telling the truth on where we're at as companies and kind of cut that bullshit layer out a little bit. So
I love it.
yeah.
That is awesome. All right, cool. So You want to leave your calling card, Matt?
Yeah. So you can check us out, movingletters.ai. As soon as those domains came available, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. I got to snatch it up, right? Yeah, so you can hit me up at 719-759-5465. This is my direct line, guys. Happy to talk to any movers, not even just about letters. Just talk about where you're at with your company, introduce yourself. Like Ryan, I am never too big to talk to anybody in this industry. I want to be out there for everyone. I give a lot of free advice every day on kind of things, and sometimes it's funny. I'll give that advice, and then my wife looks at me and goes, "Shouldn't you take that advice?" It's like, yeah, probably, but that's how the world works. So yeah, happy to do anything it takes for folks, and yeah.
Gotcha. Did you want to leave anything behind, Ryan?
No, man, I think I spoke enough today. I think my throat's a little sore here. Sorry to hog up a little bit, but no, I just, as you know, Dwight is just, I got a passion for the industry, and I just love, as Matt said, like, never going to be too big. Like, I don't consider myself big. I'm just a small guy in a really, really big pond, and just a strong swimming fish that is always looking to eat, and always provide food for everybody else, so to say. So, anytime I get a chance to talk to anybody, whether it's a 1 trucker or a 180 trucker, and just have a conversation, right? I'm always trying to learn. And my thing is, I know what I know, and that's it. And that's what I give. But again, just always trying to be a student of the game. And I try to take one new takeaway every day from somebody I talk to, just to add it to the repertoire. And the other thing is, I try to be me. I no longer try to, if I'm talking to some crazy executive, 180 trucks, I don't try to act like the 180 truck. No, I'm going to be Ryan. And that's helped me out tremendously, because one, I don't ever have to really, prepare to present or this. I speak what Ryan knows and what Ryan does. And why am I talking to myself in third person at this point? Yeah, I'm just going to stop talking, because
Yeah.
No,
not even
I
sure
love
where I'm going with that. But I just, yeah, at the end of the day, just be real, be transparent, be yourself, and have fun doing it, and just always be eager to learn.
Definitely. And I
I
would say
love that.
it's all the intricate details that movers need to be focused on. Spend a day, spend a week, spend a month in a department in your company. As a moving owner, you're never supposed to be in one place at one point in time, anyways, for ever too long. Like, hey, you're on the truck for 6 hours. Well, you could be doing stuff in the office. You could be getting payroll done. You could be helping out sales. You could be doing whatever. And granted, depending on how big you are, maybe you have people that's overseeing those departments. But at the end of the day, you're the glue to everything. So, look at the intricate details, because the people that work for you, sometimes they're just there for a check, to be honest. And maybe they'll help you grow your business, but it'll only be to a certain extent. They're not looking at the micro details. Are you taking advantage of your on hold music if you put people on hold? How long are you putting people on hold for? Are you taking that little aspect of things and realizing that, hey, you're losing calls. People are no longer interested because you kept them on hold for 30 seconds to 1 minute. Are you offering value while they're on hold? Oh, well, did you know we offer unpacking services or packing services, whatever, storage, something. So when they come back on the phone, oh, I didn't know you offered, you could come here and deliver boxes to us. Oh, well, yeah, we can. Let me give you a price quote on that, because you don't just have them on hold, listen to elevator music.
Yeah, if you're putting me on, just give me some good music and I'm cool. I don't need sales pitches. Yes, I know why I'm calling it. Just get rid of the elevator music. Give me a little pumped up while I'm sitting there waiting for 2, 3, 4 minutes. Or if it's like you're calling the electrical company in New York State, like you're on, anytime you call, it's 40 minutes, and they actually have really, really good music. So I'll just put it on speaker. I'm just like, I don't mind waiting 45 minutes because you guys got my jams on there. But
Well,
I agree with that.
everybody's a little different. I'll be on hold for 30 minutes. God damn it, I'm on hold for 30 minutes.
I think I don't know if you've ever called into Apple, but Apple, I think, has the best, because obviously they have Apple Music. They have the best hold music. It's amazing. They're like, for hip hop, press 1. For classical, press 2. And you get to choose your own
What?
genre of
yeah.
music that you want for your hold music. And it's like, man, that is just so next level thinking. So anyway.
That is crazy. But that is
Yeah.
thinking out of the box too, because I ain't
Yeah.
never had that out called anybody else.
I mean, that's how you know you're taking a lot of calls. If you can go ahead and pick which station you want to like.
But
You're,
then,
people
I
like,
mean,
hey,
that,
you're going to be on hold calling us, so we're at least give you an entire playlist here. You figure out what y'all want while you're waiting. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call Apple here after this. I gotta experience this.
You got to check this out.
I'm calling Apple right after this.
All right, so it was an amazing episode. Thank you, Matt, so much for joining us. Ryan, it's a pleasure as always. Yeah, y'all go out, crush it, keep what is it? Mid-July right now. So hey, you got about literally probably another 60, 80 days probably before the season really dies out. Go out there, keep crushing it, figure out what's not working and get it to start working and just start preparing for the off season.
Yep, I'm already preparing for 2025 events and things that we're doing. So my 2024 is planned out, and now it's just kind of executing. So I'm already I'm in the planning stages of 2025 at this point. So hopefully these moving companies are as well.
I agree, man.
All right, y'all take care.
All right, thanks so much, Dwight. Thank you so much,
Definitely.
Ryan. Have a good day.